Ever wondered how many of us secretly battle with mental health struggles? It's a question that you might not ask out loud, yet it's a silent whisper in the minds of so many. As we start this exploration into the human mind, let's take a moment to understand the vastness of this issue. If we look around the globe, we find ourselves in a sea of invisible battles. Mental health issues, they're more common than you might think. They don't discriminate. They affect people from all walks of life, from every corner of the world. Every year, hundreds of millions of people grapple with these challenges, yet they remain unseen, unheard, their struggles often locked away in the silent chambers of their minds. But let's bring some light into this darkness. Let's talk about resilience. Let's talk about hope. And let's talk about the human spirit that can overcome even the toughest of challenges. Among these hundreds of millions, there are countless stories of strength, of people who faced the tempest and emerged stronger. They are the unsung heroes of everyday life, their victories often unnoticed, but no less significant. They are proof that even in our darkest nights, there are always brighter days ahead. Consider this as a prelude to a story of such resilience. A story of a battle fought in the mind, a story of despair, and most importantly, a story of hope. It's a story that many of you might relate to, a story that will remind you that you're not alone in this fight. In this vast sea of people, in this crowd of silent warriors, there was a young woman named Sarah. Sarah, like so many others, was fighting her own battles, her own dark nights. But little did she know, her journey was about to take a turn that would lead her towards those brighter days. And in the midst of this crowd, there was a young woman named Sarah. Scene script. Sarah was like any of us, living a seemingly normal life, yet underneath the surface, a storm was brewing. Sarah was your everyday individual. She went to work, she socialized, she laughed, and she enjoyed her life. Yet behind her radiant smile, there was a tempest of emotions she struggled to comprehend. These were the early signs of a mental health struggle, and like many of us, she tried to ignore them. Sarah was a fighter. She believed in pushing through the hard times, hoping they would pass. She woke up each day, put on a brave face, and stepped into the world, carrying a burden that was invisible to others. But the more she pushed these feelings aside, the heavier they became. Her days began to feel like a marathon. Everyday tasks seemed daunting. Joy started to elude her, replaced by a persistent feeling of emptiness. She found herself feeling more and more detached, even in the midst of a crowd. The world was moving in fast forward while she was stuck in pause. Sarah began to feel isolated, a lone warrior battling an unseen enemy. Fear crept into her mind, sowing seeds of doubt and confusion. She questioned herself, her worth, her purpose. She wrestled with the fear of being misunderstood, of being labeled, of being judged. She was afraid to reach out, afraid to admit that she was struggling. She wore a mask of normalcy, pretending everything was fine, hiding her true feelings from the world. She told herself, "I can handle this. I don't need help." But as the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the struggle became overwhelming. Sarah was at war with herself. Each day was a battle, each night a retreat. She was in the eye of her own storm, and it was getting harder to see the shore. She was tired, drained, and slowly losing hope. But Sarah realized she couldn't do it alone anymore. She realized that it was okay to ask for help, okay to let others in, okay to admit that she was not okay. And that realization was the first step towards her journey of healing. It was a cold Tuesday when Sarah made the decision that changed her life. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that enough is enough. That was Sarah's turning point. No more hiding, no more pretending that everything was fine when it was not. It was time to face her fears head on. Sarah's decision to seek help wasn't an easy one. It was a decision shrouded in fear and uncertainty. She was scared of the unknown, scared of what people might think, and scared of confronting the demons that had taken hold of her life. But beneath that fear was a spark of determination, a tiny flame that refused to be extinguished. Sarah knew that she couldn't continue down this path any longer. She had to take control of her life. The first steps towards recovery are always the hardest. It's like standing at the foot of a mountain, looking up at the peak and wondering if you'll ever reach it. But Sarah was determined to start climbing. She picked up her phone and dialed a number she had saved weeks ago, but had been too afraid to call. A number that would connect her to a therapist, a professional who could guide her through this journey. The moment she picked up the phone, she was taking her life back. She was saying yes to healing, yes to recovery, and yes to a brighter future. It wasn't a grand gesture, it was a simple phone call, But it was the most important call Sarah had ever made. Sarah's decision to seek help was her first step towards recovery. It was a step taken with fear and uncertainty, but also with hope and determination. She was ready to face whatever came her way, ready to fight for her happiness, ready to reclaim her life. It was a decision that was as daunting as it was courageous, but it was a decision that needed to be made. And so Sarah's journey towards healing began. It was a journey that would be filled with obstacles and challenges, but also with moments of triumph and joy. It was a journey that would ultimately lead Sarah towards a brighter, healthier future. It was a journey that started with one simple decision on a cold Tuesday morning. Recovery wasn't easy. It was a path filled with ups and downs. This is the story of Sarah's journey back to wellness. Her road to recovery was not a straight line. It was more like a winding path, filled with twists, turns, and unexpected detours. Sarah began attending therapy sessions. These were not always comfortable encounters. They were often filled with raw, unfiltered emotions, and sometimes painful revelations. But they were also spaces of healing, of understanding, and of growth. In these sessions, Sarah learned to confront her struggles head-on, to grapple with them, to understand them, and ultimately to overcome them. During her recovery, there were small victories, moments of triumph that shone through the clouds like beams of sunlight. The first time she managed to get out of bed before noon, the first time she laughed genuinely, the first time she went a whole day without crying. These victories may seem small, but they were monumental for Sarah. They were signs that she was making progress, that she was regaining control over her life. But not every day was a good day. There were hard days too, days when she felt like she was back at square one, days when the world seemed too much, too overwhelming, days when she questioned if she would ever get better. But through it all, Sarah remained resilient. She understood that recovery is not a linear process, that there will be setbacks, but that doesn't mean she was failing. It simply meant she was human. Sarah's determination was her guiding force. Even on the days when she wanted to give up, she pushed through. She held on to the hope that things would get better, that she would get better. She knew that recovery was not a destination, but a journey filled with ups and downs, but a journey worth taking nonetheless. Slowly but surely, Sarah was learning to navigate her way through the storm. She was learning that it's okay to have bad days, that it's okay to feel overwhelmed, that it's okay to ask for help. She was learning that she was stronger than she ever thought possible. She was learning that she was not alone in her struggles, and most importantly, she was learning how to cope, how to heal, and how to thrive. With time, the storm inside Sarah started to calm. Like the first rays of sunlight piercing through a night sky, Sarah began to find her strength again. The darkness that once clouded her vision was now replaced by a glimmer of hope. Sarah started to regain control of her life, one small step at a time. She found solace in the simplest of things: the smell of fresh coffee in the morning, the sound of birds chirping at dawn, the feeling of a good book in her hands. She began to appreciate the beauty of the world around her, a world she had once shut herself out from. There was a newfound strength within Sarah, a strength she didn't know she possessed. She started to reach out to others, sharing her journey, her struggles, and her victories. She found comfort in the fact that she was not alone, that there were others who understood her pain. It was through these connections that she found a sense of belonging, a sense of purpose. The positive changes in her life were evident. She was no longer the same Sarah who was trapped in her own thoughts. She had transformed into a woman of resilience, a woman of courage. She was no longer held captive by her past, but was now embracing her present and looking forward to her future. Sarah was not just surviving, she was thriving. She was a testament to the fact that even in our darkest hours, there is always a new dawn waiting for us. Sarah's story is a testament to the power of resilience and seeking help. Each of us, like Sarah, carries unique strengths within us. It's crucial to remember that reaching out, seeking help when you're struggling, is not a sign of weakness, but of strength. You are not alone in this journey. If this video resonated with you, share it. Let its message reach those who might need to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like Sarah's. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. You are not alone. Together we can make a difference.